You can let yourself be stopped by what might seem unfortunate circumstances, or you can ask, learn, be brave, and get support.
Yeah, I think that's important because letting yourself get trapped by something that happens, it just keeps you stagnant and you don't grow. And challenges and adversity are great momentum builders.
Yes,
And it keeps you honest, it keeps you on your toes, it keeps you just moving forward always and ready to move forward and not just unwilling to stay where you're at, whether you're unhappy or just like even heal and like not unhappy or happy, just the regular, which is what I've been a lot.
exactly.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah,
adversity makes you stronger and builds character, builds momentum, and keeps you honest and keeps you going forward.
I love it. I love it. I'm just writing it down because I love what you say. So, Tough Andrew is waving at us.
Hello.
Okay, so here are the three things I wanted to say. Um, and this has to do with we can get discouraged, we can feel ashamed because of all the setbacks, because basically we're talking about uh, us stopping us in our tracks physically.
Hmm.
Of course, we could also add emotionally, but mentally. But today we are talking about physically. Uh, but we can also talk to it about it to others, come up with ideas, become creative, and hence regain or maintain our freedom and show our authenticity, which is basically what we were talking about last week. Do
Yeah.
you remember when you were talking about spinners in your wheelchair?
Yeah. Yeah. That was a fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and of course I was showing this baby. I still got it here with me. You know, today I went down the escalator, up and down the escalator for the first time, as
No.
in the one that's moving.
Mhm.
That was, I haven't done it in years. You know, going down the steps, that's usually something I do, very careful, slow, but going up and down an escalator, oh man, that's been years and years. You know,
I
I always felt like jumping.
I went up an escalator once in my life when I was 19. I
Yeah,
was
you're not supposed to do that with a wheelchair.
I was in Ireland. It was when I was doing the Irish youth games, and I was like, "What the hell? I'll just do it." So I stood up. I put my hands on the railings that move, and I didn't. I'm 19. I'm stupid. I didn't realize that they move. I just thought the steps moved. So I put
Oh,
my hands on the railings, and I fell over because I don't realize that they both move. So I fell down and I had to stand up and then do it again.
yeah.
Yeah, and the one of
So
the
how was it?
it was fine. One of the chaperones was going to get my chair and just stand up from behind me and just go up that way because I think the elevator wasn't working. That's why we did it.
Ah, okay, okay, I see. Yeah, it's normally it's a no-go to use a wheelchair, but of course you didn't use the wheelchair at that moment. Only
Yeah,
few people know that you can actually stand, just not for a long time, and it hurts. So
yeah. After a couple of hours of walking, I'll be dead tired. But I normally just use my chair, and
yeah, yeah,
I've only escalators I think twice, but just because I felt like doing it because or elevators didn't work.
yeah. I totally get it, and of course there are the flat escalators, you know, without the steps, but which help you go up. but that's
Yeah.
still a little bit of a challenge with a wheelchair.
Oh,
So
those are because I go on those and I try to. You can go on them and just like slowly
yeah.
go across. I roll as fast as I can just to get to the other side. Just because.
Oh, it's like a game.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, that sounds good. Sounds good.
my disability is the physical side of my disability. I don't let hold me back more as much as I do the mental side because like
Hmm.
physically I'm the type of guy that I'll do something, fall on my face, get up and do it again because I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm stuck. But like when I get told something, that goes deeper for some reason. I don't.
Yeah, I get that. So let's start with the first one. Um, so what you just said, when it comes to physically, you get up, you do it again, and you get up and you do it again,
Yeah.
which basically is about being creative, coming up
Mhm.
with solutions, just doing it over and over and over again, which basically is teaching us something. We can find a solution no matter what. You had to learn that the rubber bands were actually moving with you, and then you realize, oh, okay, they are. And
Yeah.
now, well, we also know about the other one, and now you're raising them. The
Yeah.
alphabet you can
It's all
get across them.
it's all about adapting.
Yes, exactly, exactly, and that's what I consider learning in this case about being creative and finding ways to obtain that same goal like you did. And of course, standing up wasn't easy for you. You can do it, but you did it
Mhm.
anyway. So that's good. So then it comes to talking to people, and I suppose that's the other thing you were talking about, which is the mental side of things.
Yeah. That well, I have situational depression, so like I'll the way I am, I'll something will happen and then I'll overthink it and then I'll just make it worse and worse and worse. Or someone will say something and then I'll think about what they said and I'll make it worse and worse and worse. It just depends on what they said or what they meant by it or what position it puts in me in mentally going forward. Like as far as like the adjustments I have to make in my head based on what they said, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so are we talking about they are making uh, a remark, or are we talking about
Re-
really good conversation and them
re-
giving you ideas?
Remarks or assumptions.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why my first point is um, like it's so important to have in-depth conversations.
Yeah.
Conversations where you actually explain what's going on. If people have an opinion, they say, "Okay, come tell me," and then let's talk about it.
Yeah.
What are you actually saying? Are you aware of what you are saying and what you are stating? And
Hmm.
let's be honest, most of the time they're not.
Yeah, they're not.
People
Yeah.
just don't. Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't think beyond what
They,
um, what they've experienced.
they speak without knowing.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
it. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. That's like I remember when I didn't have that much problems. Um, my dad already had a disability card for the car. Of course, that was back in the day. You could easily get one, and he needed it. He had a lot of problems with his knees, with walking. So when I grew up, especially when I had to go through hoops in order to get one myself,
Hmm.
every time I would see someone, just walking out of the car, I would be like, oh, that's interesting. Why do you have a cart? You're walking, you don't seem to have a problem. And a lot of people, that's what I have noticed though, get the card for the other person who's involved and they are actually driving and then they use it on their own account, which is allowed over here. Um, But it wasn't until I realized, okay, if you see me the first few minutes,
Mm-hmm.
well, actually, not the first minute, but after the few minutes after that, then you probably won't know something is going on with me. So when I get up, I'm a little bit stiff, I'm a little bit wobbly, so you might see it. But once I'm walking, I'm walking. So it depends on what I've been doing, if I can actually walk or I cannot walk. So I've come to learn that in order to actually get better, get healthier, and get stronger, I really need that parking spot. And well, every once in a while, I don't use it anymore. Um, it's a little bit like, okay, am I going to do it? Am I not going to do it? Sometimes other people can use it better. Um, but it took me a while before I realized, okay, there's more to it, to people using the card than we can actually see.
Yeah.
And that's probably what's so important. People make a statement, but they don't know what they are talking about. I mean, if I look at people and I see them in a wheelchair and I see them being stiff and standing up and then sitting down, I can just, in a split second say, oh, your back is hurting? Yeah. Oh, so you probably can't either stand or sit. Yeah. So you're looking for a
Yeah.
position that hurts the least.
Mobility issues have just different levels. What you
Yeah.
can and can't do. I mean, and to your point with people walking out of parking spots. When I was in college, my mother drove me to college, and there would be kids that like would park in a handicap spot and then run to class. But it just depends on what they have. Or I mean, sometimes they don't have anything in there, and they just take whatever sticker they have. But a lot of times they have something like because you have autoimmune disease and invisible diseases and disabilities and things happen. I mean, and you can have, like I said, levels of mobility, and I don't need. I use my parking spaces not because like I need to be close to the spot, the building. I can go as far as I can. I need to. I just need that room with the lines so that I can get in and out of my chair because in a regular spot they're just too close together. I can't get my chair out and I'm stuck.
Yeah.
So that's why if there isn't a spot, I'll either have to park very far away from the building and hope no one parks next to me, or I'll have to park in two separate spots. So it just depends.
Yeah, so many people don't know this, but the goal is to have disability parking spots wider and longer than usual parking spots. Over here in the Netherlands, there is lack of space. So, sometimes they take like 3 normal spots and make them into 2 disability spots, but it's also possible that's just 2 normal spots.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh my God, how do I get out in your case, your chair? In my case, it used to be my crutches. I had to open the doors from the side, and I didn't have any balance. And then you try and get the crutches out. Well, that's a little bit of a challenge. And I remember thinking, like, I need a sticker for on the side of my car so people can actually see, hey, I need to open the door. Would you mind? Or, when they were parking behind me, like, okay, there's a reason, when I open the trunk, I need to be able to step back. I still don't have any balance, so please back up. But, once you explain it to them, and especially when you can have a little bit fun about it,
Mm-hmm.
people are far more understanding, and that's what I've noticed in my journey. A lot of people, they always say like, oh, you can have a laugh about it, and I'm always saying, yeah, and why not, you
Yeah.
know and that's what I like about doing the show with you, because I know you think the same way.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
when I park in spot, the only problem I have, well, one of the problems I have is when I park in a handicap spot. There's a lot of times there's a car parked in that spot next to this spot, with the lines, and they just assume that they can park there, even though it's illegal, and they're like, "Oh, I'll only be 5 minutes." That bothers me because that can lead to longer, for one, and number two, I'll have to look for a different spot and wait and drive around, and so that also is a problem as far as like trying to get where you need to go quicker. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. And just recently, I ran into the same thing when I was, my mom's house had to be emptied, and it was purely coincidental. Right in front of her door was a handicapped parking spot, and when she was still alive, and I had to be able to go there also during the night. I had it made like it was available for me round the clock,
Yeah.
and for other people, of course, too. And that stopped at some point, and so there was this guy. He had parked the car there during the weekend, and on
Hmm.
Sunday he could park there. And then it was Monday, and it was still there. And then on Tuesday, I was so fed up with it. So normally, what I do is I call the police, not so that he gets fined or she gets fined, but so they can say, "Hey, be aware, this is a handicapped parking spot. Please move the vehicle." Because if the one who actually checks it, so that's a different unit,
Hmm.
they will give you a fine, and that's over $300. I think it's like the same amount in the US, right?
If you park, if you're a hand, if you're parking a handicap spot in a parking lot, they won't do anything. I mean,
I've seen fines
yeah,
in Florida listed that it's over $300.
okay. Uh, I don't know. I haven't seen cops in parking lots, so I'm not sure what the fine would be. It says on the placard that I think it's 250, but I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah, I've
No, it's
never.
not about the amount. Anyway, what I did was I posted, I put a note under under his windshield wiper, windscreen wiper.
Mhm.
And then the next day, on Tuesday, I was there again, and there he came walking up, and he said, "Hey, do you realize where you're standing?" So he was reaching for the paper, and of course he first ignored me, and then I walked up to him. I said, "Are you aware how much this could have cost you if I would have wanted for you to get fined?"
Yeah,
And I said, "It's over €300. It's, so that's even $330." Uh,
yeah,
and that's what got him startled, and said, "Oh, I didn't see it." And I was, "Well, just look up, and there's a cross, of
yeah,
course." And then he said he wouldn't do it again.
yeah,
But it's like awareness, and of course I could I I had a little fun about it later on, and it's not like I wish them to pay a lot of money. It's basically become aware of why we are using it and where you are parking. I mean, if I could walk like uh, I don't know where, it would be so much easier. But if you can, you
yeah.
just need that space. So, but that's so connect with people, and I've got a totally different story. When I don't know if I told you this, but what inspired me was going to Spain, and I've been to Barcelona once,
Hmm.
and I got stuck at Barcelona airport. Have you ever heard that story?
No.
No. Okay. Well, so here I was, and I was supposed to catch the flight, but I didn't catch the flight because my car was broken into. Everybody could see it was a rental car because they had this huge sticker on the back of the car, which said Santoro. So everybody knew it was a rental car, and I didn't realize it until I got back to the car, and I was like, "Oh, what's the glass in the back of the car?" So anyway, I got directed to the police station by police officer, and no, by the time I got back, I was of course delayed.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
the thing was, when you when I arrived at the airport, then at that moment I have medical assistance because I asked for medical assistance.
Mhm.
But it doesn't start until you are in the airport, and then it ends the moment that they drop you off at the cab stand or wherever it is where you need to be. So they drop me off at the shuttle bus uh, uh, place where I
Okay.
take the shuttle bus to the rental car. But vice versa, it didn't work like that. So they dropped me off right in front of the airport, in front of the doors, and I couldn't get in.
Oh, wow.
So I have my suitcase, I have my two crutches, and I was standing there like, oh, now what? So he drove off.
Yeah.
And I was literally like, okay, I've got a problem. I can't leave my suitcase alone and I can't get in. So, of course, because of that and the delay, I literally had to scream for help because people couldn't hear me. I wasn't in hearing distance,
Yeah.
normal voice.
Okay.
People helped me out. But unfortunately, I didn't make the flight, so they threw everything out in the garbage bin because they said your suitcase is going to go on board. Of course, it didn't happen. And so then the guy from the medical assistance, he said, can I go home? You know, it was like 7 o'clock at night, and
Yeah.
he didn't want to be there like another 12 hours, and I could
Yeah.
understand it. So I said, well, if I can get rid of my suitcase, then sure you can. So I also brought these two backpacks, which I had put on my wheelchair. I become smart, so I could use two backpacks when walking with crutches. So I got rid of the suitcase that was for the airline service to keep an eye on, and
Mm-hmm.
then I rolled down and I said to the people at the desk, you know, and the person for medical assistance has left me alone. So if you don't mind, I'm going to take the wheelchair. I'm going to take the shuttle bus and go downtown. They looked at me for a sec, and then they were like, off you go. I said, I'll return in the morning. So I had asked a newfound friend, um, where do I go? And he said, go on the shuttle bus. And of course, the thing is supposed to go down a little bit.
Yeah.
You probably know what I mean. So it's near the ground, and you can actually roll in. And of course,
Yeah.
that didn't work. so, um, so other people helped me get in, and
Mm-hmm.
it was my first ride in a wheelchair in a bus. So
Okay.
I was like, oh my God, you know, all the G-forces going up and down.
I've
That
I've
was
been in
kind of
buses.
funny.
I've been in buses when at school, and I live in Vegas, so there's shuttle buses all over to go from
Yeah.
hotel to hotel. So yeah.
How did you do it? Because you get strapped in, if correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The bus drivers at school would take straps and strap my wheels down,
Yes.
and the shuttle buses here, there's just like poles to hold on to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to be really strong.
Well, yes and no. I mean, you need to hold on.
Yeah.
You don't be strong. You just need to hold on and like have a firm grip.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know what's going to happen, you could roll around and hit somebody and hurt somebody. But so you just have to be aware of what's going to happen.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. Well, obviously I wasn't, but others around me were, so that was good. And it ended up because I started sharing my story, and um, I learned later that someone actually had gone into the hotel with me just to make sure that I was safe, and I arrived at the hotel. So that was
Yeah,
kind of cool.
that's good.
And and you know, the next day I was like, okay, I know how to get on the sidewalk, but it's a little bit steep. So if I think I can't make it because I have to go like through 20 people, and then I'll just, you know, tap on someone's arm. Hey, can you give me a push? You know, and then I end up on the sidewalk instead of, you know, in the middle of the road, and
Hmm.
oh, there are cars, you know. So and that's I think that the connecting with people, sharing the stories, um, It makes such a difference.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, we get understood better. We feel better about it because we get understood, and of course they understand as well.
Yeah.
So so I do have a third step, which has to do with victory, and that's so by talking to other people about things, you in general get creative, come up with other solutions, and of course this has to do with what you said at first. You can sit back and do nothing, or you can say, okay, let's go outside and think outside of the box, and let's make this happen. And
Yeah.
I may fall down, and then I get back up again. I may fall down,
Mm-hmm.
but that moment when you're able to take that first next step,
Yeah.
that's victory. That's victory.
It's, it has a lot of, like I said, it's momentum. It changes your, it gives you a physiological feeling. It makes you happier. It makes you, gives you a lot of, I can do this. It gives you like a different perspective. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's that's why I added gratitude and happiness to the list. And happiness actually, happiness is actually there all the time.
Yeah.
So, but I agree. And
How about,
and and when you are more aware of that feeling, that boost that you get, that endorphin drip, that feeling. Also knowing that you are stronger, which is of course not only a chemical boost, but it also does something with the mind.
yeah.
It's they say it's uh, through pain you find your purpose, but it's not only through pain you find your purpose, but also pain makes you stronger
Yeah.
in because you can do way more.
Yeah. Adversity is underrated as far as how important it is to people.
Yes, I
I think
agree.
I think a lot of people are afraid of adversity or try to stray away from it
Mhm.
instead of going head first into it.
So if people don't know what you mean by adversity, what would you say to them? How would you explain it?
Just and it's like I think it's a case by case basis. It depends on who you are and what your situation is. Mine is not being able to get into a building because there's stairs instead of a ramp, or a certain person treating me differently because of my disability, or not being able to get into a parking spot because there's not enough parking spots in a lot and they're all all taken, or having to wait 30 minutes to go to the bathroom because there's only one stall, and which happens a lot. So it just depends on who you are, what your situation is, and I think it's like on a case by case basis. Uh, Also, adversity can be in my situation. It was I used to do wheelchair races, so um, that was adversity. Doing the race and trying to beat myself and um, not beat the other person, but like keep up with them or like be equal to them, rather than like give up and not even come close to what I know I could do.
Mhm. Nice. And I guess it's, um, when we consider it a challenge, that's when you can actually enjoy what's happening. And it
Hmm.
may not be easy at first,
Yeah,
but then when you get that result, you achieve your goal, you can set new goals. And it's, of course, it starts with one step at a time,
yeah,
1 minute at a time, one different, whatever it is, move
yeah,
at a time.
yeah.
But you can get there, and actually today I had two moments. One was of course the escalator, what I was talking about,
Mm-hmm.
which was like, oh, wow, that's a new one. And I felt really confident, so that was really weird. And then the other one actually had to do with a pedal bin, if I say it correctly,
Oh,
because I could a pedal bin.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, so when you have a trash can
Okay.
and then you have a pedal next to the trash
Oh,
can,
okay.
so the lid opens.
Okay, yeah. I know what
That
it is.
was,
I've used that term before. Okay.
yeah, well, maybe they used in England, maybe I didn't say it correctly, that could be, but as far as I've seen it, it's, but here in the Netherlands, we get told British English, which is different from US English.
Yeah.
So, so certain things are different, and of course, it's not a word that you usually use like every day. So I really had to think about it. Like, okay, what's it called? And I was like, oh, I think it's called a bin, a pedal
Yeah.
bin. So anyway, um, so you need to be able to keep your balance on one foot, and then of course use the other foot in order to tap on the pedal. And I
Yeah.
couldn't because I could only use a few toes. And if I would do it with my wrong foot, with a few toes, it would hurt like hell. And if I would try to stand on there, that was even worse. So today I was standing on my right foot, the good foot, and I was stepping with my left foot and was like, hey, I can open this, you know. And those are those little things, those little rewards, um, which actually feel really good. And for me, that's victory. So um, and that's why I came up with the title, um, like, okay, 3 reasons why challenging circumstances, so the circumstances that you and I have encountered, and lots of people around us are still encountering around us as well, can actually make us feel better. Feel
Mm-hmm.
as in feel happier, feel victorious, feel um, grateful, um, you name it, feel proud of ourselves,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and yeah, and of course, it also helps us build physical stamina. But this was about feeling differently, and like you said before, it's when it comes to mental things, um, it works a little bit different in the mind.
Mm-hmm.
So once we can overcome one challenge, it usually gets easier to overcome other challenges. And they don't necessarily have to be physical, they can be mental as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you hold on
So,
1 second? Can you hold on one
yeah,
second? 1 second.
sure.
You okay? I'm sorry about that.
It's
Um,
okay, it's life.
for, for, for me, overcoming mental and psychological things are harder than physical things.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm willing to try harder for physical things than I am for mental things. Like, I'll be more discouraged when it's psychological or emotional than I will be for physical things, if that makes sense.
Well, I would think you're used to overcoming physical challenges
Yeah,
because you have faced them from the day you were born.
yeah, sure, yeah.
And of course, you didn't realize it until you grew up a little bit later.
Hmm.
But you had to overcome those challenges, so it's normal. It's like different people react differently to pain, and of
Hmm.
course, there's also the physical response. But there are a number of people who just are not used to react to pain. So someone said, I think it was in a movie or in a series, you can't change the fact that you experience pain, but you can change the way you react to it.
Yeah,
And, you know, I think you and we probably have experienced painful times, literally, in our
yeah,
lives.
yeah.
And so you get used to it, you know, and sometimes I might scream. I remember last weekend I was, you know, I screamed a bunch of times because my right knee was twisted this time instead of my left knee. And that was kind of unexpected.
Yeah.
But normally, and that's what I actually said it to the one who did my feet today, because with the tiny little needle, those hooks, it can be quite painful. But it's like for a second, and then you forget it again. Let's see, are you still there? Yeah, you're here again. No, you're still frozen, but you do smile, so that's good. Let's see when you're back. Ah, yeah, are you here again? No, still frozen, just not smiling. Uh-oh. Waiting for Michael. Yeah, we will go on. No worries. Okay, so I think Michael has left for a second. We'll see. Maybe I can fight him once more. Yeah, we'll see. Well, um, let me entertain you for a second on my own while we are waiting for the connection to restore. I have to assume it's on his side and not on my side, but then again, it could be on my side and I could be frozen up right at this minute. I don't know. Um, but what I wanted to say is um, there's this instant moment of pain, and the next moment it's like gone. And you can encounter that same experience again, like going to the same person, whether it's, well, the dentist is of course a little bit different because that's only once every 6 months or once a year. But if you do it like weekly, on a weekly basis, then it's a whole different ball game. And I guess that's important. What's your attitude towards the pain? And if you know it's going to go away, you don't have to fear it. So this is taking a long time for Michael. Oh, you are in the background because I can hear you. But I only still see a little circle. And I did accept your invite. Yeah. Well, if this keeps continuing, we may have to wrap up. But accepting again. But it would be interesting to finish the conversation about the difference between physical and mental pain. And yeah, I know you want to come through because I can hear just little bits of sounds, but it's not working. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, I hear you. I hear little bits of sounds. Okay, so Michael has left, but he's about to come back. I'm certain he will be. There he is. There he is. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, there you are again.
Yeah.
I don't know if I froze up or you froze up. For me,
I,
you froze up, but maybe
I
for you,
saw
I froze up.
I saw your face freeze up, and then I got kicked off. So I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, like, I see you freezing up, but it could as well be me. I don't know. But anyway, you're back again, or I'm
Yes.
back again. We are back again.
Right.
So when it comes to the physical things, it's like when you know it's only going to be like split second, and you actually get confronted with it like on a daily or on a weekly basis. It's normal. Okay, so it's there and it's going to go away. It's going to subside. And of course, there are people who haven't experienced much pain, so they don't know that it will, disappear again,
Yeah.
because they don't know their body. So for me, there's a whole different ball game between I know the pain is there because of whatever is going on, and yeah, it hurts, but I don't have to worry about it. And then there's the pain, like, oh my God, something is totally wrong, and
Hmm.
I need to do something about it. So that's when the pain becomes my warning signal. So they say normally pain is a warning signal. For me, it's maybe 1 out of 50 times it's like really a warning signal for
Yeah.
me. So when you're used to knowing, okay, what this is going to happen, and you have your physical challenges, but you know you can conquer them,
Hmm.
and maybe not all work out, but that's okay. It's something you do. But when it comes to self-esteem and what other people are doing and whether they believe you or not and the way they talk to you, that's a whole different ball game. Whereas a physical challenge, you can do something about it. You can actually challenge yourself to make a difference. And when it comes to mental stuff, you need to be prepared in order to be able to respond back if they are still there to listen to you. And if they are not there to listen to you, you need to be able to say, okay, I understand where they're coming from, and then just let it go. And of course, the latter is easier said than done.
Yeah, of course. I mean, as time has gone by, I've gotten better about letting it go because when it all said and done, you can't really change what people think, say, or feel. It's just the way they're going to be, and you just have to move on. You have to learn to let it move on, let it go, and be you. You do you. And thankfully, I have a high threshold for pain. If I'm standing up and my back hurts, I just sit down and I'll be fine. And it takes a while for me to even get to that point. But you just have to. That goes to my point about checking in with yourself and being self-aware. You have to ask yourself how you're feeling, what you think, and just know your surroundings mentally and psychologically, and know what's going on with you, so that you can move forward. And I think that's very important.
Yeah. Well, I think that especially in the last 7 years, um, I in order to be able to do anything at all,
Mm-hmm.
I had to ask people for help, and I had to ask them on a daily basis for support. And I wasn't the person to sit at home. It wasn't me. And being in a position that I couldn't do it myself,
Mm-hmm.
um, I guess that what we said about pain, getting used to it and knowing, okay, I can make it stop if I do X, Y, Z or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, at some point, that you get a habit. It becomes a habit to ask people, and I've noticed that asking strangers wasn't actually that horrible. And I'm a kind of chatty person. When it comes down to it, I can be really silent and very withdrawn. But I also like to talk to people, say, hey, hi, how are you doing? And that's probably the result of me being a trainer. And I've been a trainer for years. So I know that it's about, making eye contact with people, sometimes giving them a smile. Um, and that combined with, having to ask like literally every day, sometimes multiple times a day, I guess that made a lot of difference. And at some point, I also learned that when you explain why,
Mm-hmm.
so there's a difference between saying something, not expecting something to happen, demanding something, or saying something, being persistent, and also explaining,
Yeah.
but with a smile. And when you get enough positive responses, like the challenges you conquered physically, if you also get those mentally, then things start to change because you learn like, okay, not everyone may react positively, but overall people do, and that makes you a little less hesitant to ask for it. But yeah, it's, I had to learn the hard way, and not once, not twice, but multiple times, dozens of times, that I I would go way beyond any both mental and physical limits.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I would know was not just because I couldn't get out of bed, but more importantly, I would start screaming and I would get angry. And I would get so irritated and annoyed, and that would be a sign for me like, oh, okay, pressure cooker has started up again. I need to do something about it. And so when people got me to learn to deal and recognize when the pressure cooking was starting, to build up,
Mm-hmm.
I was able to, when it was still just turning on, like, okay, I need to be quick because by the time it's at 3, then it blows over to 10 plus. The lid is off. Um, and I guess, it's those little things. And in order to maintain the low level or to be able to turn the pressure cooker off again, I needed to explain myself to people like, okay, I know what you're wanting to do, but please stop because I can't take this at the moment. And I am going to start screaming or yelling or whatever it is, and you're not going to like it. I'm not going to like it. So please, let's avoid this. So,
Yeah.
and sometimes it means agree to disagree and, walk away. But it's knowing yourself what you will gain or what it will cost you, which makes all the difference. And that's a very basic explanation of something which is incredibly more uh, well, difficult is not the right word, but there's so much more that comes to it.
Complex.
Complex, yes, that's the word. Thank you.
I tend to ask. It tends to make it be easier for me to ask strangers for help or engage in strangers than people I'm close to,
Yeah.
which I don't get, but that's the way it is. It's always been like that.
Well, I've noticed that strangers are far more likable, are far more likely to help you out as opposed to people close to you. And maybe that's because the people close to you are used to doing certain stuff, and then at some point they're like, then again, they still might not realize what you need. It's not like unless, often it's like unless you've encountered things yourself,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you recognize it, and then you don't need to speak to one another anymore. It's just, one look on one another's face, and you know what's going on, and you will help. But for those who haven't experienced it but still are close, it's like, oh my God, they come up with another question and another one, and they feel already tired before you've already asked it. And I've actually experienced a lot of arguments with those close to me. And at some point, I would say, we've been going back and forth like this for 5 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever. And if you just had done what I asked you to, then, it would have been done. And sometimes I'll just say, stop, and now listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
I need this because, bam, that's it. No arguing. and it's not, and that I don't understand that it's, oh my God, I need to do this again. And you can always say that and express that, but it's like they're unfamiliar with the situations. For strangers who don't have to do it every day, it's way easier because they only do it one time.
Yeah.
It's probably why it's easier for them. They're not emotionally attached.
Yeah, that's another thing. If I try to get help from a family member, they overdo it and they do more than I need them to do, rather than asking a stranger and them just doing exactly what I ask. Or like if it's emotional or psychological. They will, like, I find family members try to shrink me and ask questions and dive deeper than I want them to, which is also weird. And
Why would they trick you?
they shrink me, like become a psychologist,
Hmm.
like just ask deeper questions than I want them to,
Yeah.
and like go deeper and rather than like the surface level that I need somebody to go to.
Yeah. So have you confronted them with this?
No,
Like, and that's the thing,
I
if you don't tell them.
it depends on the situation and the subject matter. I have and I haven't. It just depends on what the specific subject is.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's, um, we cannot expect people to know what's going on in our minds.
Yeah, it's true.
Hello. And so it does need some explanation every now and then
Yeah,
um, to let them know why we need certain things. And just recently I had this talk with someone, and he has a certain perspective, and I understand his perspective. And then he says, okay, so if the other one would be in my situation, I would be there in a heartbeat, which I think is very gracious of him to do.
yeah. Hmm.
Um, but here's the thing: when we get to communication, and um, he has some very valid reasons to say no a couple of times, but he doesn't say why. Then the other one involved feels like rejected because
Hmm.
he said no.
Yeah,
So he's done so basically to protect the other one from whatever is going on. Might be the weather, might be something else. Uh, but the other one feels pushed away because it's not explained and no new appointment has been made. So then when he says, well, I've been waiting the next day because I said, okay, we'll talk tomorrow, and nothing happened, and he's mad, I'm saying, like, yeah, but do you realize what you did? You basically pushed the other one away because you
hmm,
said no. Yeah, but yeah, I know why you did it, but the other one doesn't. So the other one feels rejected. And once I got to explain that, I said, okay, so try again the next day, and then they made up actually, so that was a good thing. But that's basically what communication is. Um, we know the reasons why we do things, but the other one doesn't. And when we don't know what's going on in their life, maybe they had a bad conversation with other people. Maybe they've been tricked themselves by other people, and that's why they need to go in deeper. Maybe they think they are the best shrink ever, but they aren't trained. And it's especially the people who aren't trained who think they're the best shrinks around there, out there.
yeah.
Um, you know,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make you feel better.
It depends. You really never know what the other person is going through.
Yes, yes.
I mean, it could be a lot harder than you think.
And that's why I started out with the first thing. Well, actually, it was the second thing. Like, people need to know your story. People
Hmm.
need to know what's going on in your mind, and
Yeah.
then they can get to understand.
Yeah, yeah. They can. It's easier to be around them, talk to them, understand them, empathize with them, um, verbalize back and forth with them. Yeah.
Yeah,
When everything's on the table, there's just no question marks and no am I doing this wrong? Am I doing this right? You always know if you
yes,
are open. Yeah.
And when you don't know, you know you can ask.
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. I mean, my tagline for Wills and Warriors is start a conversation to end the stigma. It's just
Yes.
you need to conversate and talk. And whenever I'm out and people stare, which isn't that much, uh, I rather than ask the questions that they're thinking about because I know they're thinking about something, but I rather them ask a question and start a conversation so that they know better or they know what they want to know going forward, and they won't look anymore rather than just talking to somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, and then that's why the whole conversation is so important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
It's
I'm introverted, but I'm getting better at talking and conversating and going back and forth and opening up.
well, the fact that you're here doing a show with me, that we are doing a show together,
Yeah,
it says
yeah,
enough. I mean, yeah, I think you were the one who started it.
yeah. That's why I wanted
So,
it. But I wanted to start it. I wanted to partner with you because I know what your message is. I know what your word is. I know what you want, where you want to go, and I think my message and your message go well together, and they're very similar. So I wanted to combine with you to make our messages and our missions better, or not better,
yeah.
but further go along.
Yeah, I think we have a very strong um, mutual purpose,
Yeah.
and by sharing our stories and combining both our experiences and
Yeah.
sharing them with people, going back and forth, I think that that works really well. And so
Yeah.
I agree with you. But when you say you're an introvert and you are here, you're here live, you're doing it.
Well,
So
I'm an introvert. I'm a lot better than I was. Um, but I'll be honest, partially why I'm able to talk as much as I am right now is because I know we're live and I know there's people watching
yes,
who I want to make their experience better and help people, and I don't want to just like leave them hanging, but and by not saying anything. So I'll go out of my comfort zone to help people and to change lives and to uh, push the mission forward.
yes, I love it. Changing people's life and putting the message forward. So yeah, maybe we conclude this live by
Okay.
having said so. We talked about sharing stories, which is what we did. We shared
Yeah.
our experiences. We talked about thinking outside of the box and being courageous, being creative, finding solutions for you, going live. It
Yeah.
works because then you feel like, okay, I need to go out there. Of course, we have a great mentor in the back called Evan Carmichael. He also
Yes.
gives us suggestions what we can do. So we know, also because of what he shared, that this is going from Instagram to YouTube, and then it will be on YouTube forever
Yeah.
for people to watch. And of course, when it comes out to think outside of the box, it's also about, okay, how can we reach people better? How can we do things differently? And and also, this is the third time we've gone live. Well, actually, the second depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
And we're doing it,
Yeah.
and that's victory for both of us.
Totally. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah,
The victory for both of us. Definitely. Yeah.
yeah. And I think it makes us both better persons, not only in spirit, but also because we set our minds to it. we set ourselves a goal and connect about it, we talk about it, we get to know one another better,
Yeah.
and
Makes you stronger. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And the most cool thing about it is still you're on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean,
Yeah,
supposed to
that's
be.
true. Yeah.
That's one of the things I still love about it. That in this day and age, so much
Yeah.
is possible. And I never thought this was ever going to happen when I was growing up. So, is there
Sometimes
anything
I
you
forget
want
how
to
far
add?
away you are.
Yeah, yeah.
Um.
We're looking at one another and we're talking, and
Yeah.
we can see one another and have responses, and I love it.
Yeah. Not really. I just really enjoyed our conversations. I like how long it was. I like how deep it was. Um. Uh. The amount of conversations we can have easily is to me is powerful and it's amazing. Yeah. I'm enjoying this.
I'm glad you do, and so do I. So thank you,
Thank you.
and um, I'm going to talk to you soon,
Okay.
and we're going to make sure that this is a wrap and that it gets put on YouTube. And I'm
Yeah.
going to see if I can do so tonight, that other people can watch it straight away as well. So,
Okay. Great. Thank you.
okay, have a wonderful evening
You too.
and talk soon.